participating in the ceremonies. These ceremonies that were practiced here for generations among the Samish people, on my ancestors, and all the other coastal people. And today we have people from all over, many different backgrounds who follow our tradition. And just thank you for being part of it. And it is a great blessing for you to be here, that the spirits that makes them happy. And we're right next to the sacred land here, and the people, Sawilsanitan people, that the village that was called Sawilsanitan, that was just right this area here, is right where this town is, was the old village. And many of the people that left in there was an epidemic that hit in the 1890s, so there were two families that still survived the epidemic. One of the families went to Swinomish Reservation, and one of the families went to Vancouver Island to Sandwich. And there were other communities here on the Orcas Island, several different communities, Native people still living here during that time, all the way up until as I know, my grandmother used to visit her relatives here in the 1920s and 1930s. So there were still some of the people still living here at the time. So I know that these ancestors are happy that to hear these songs that come from here. And it just brings me joy when my brother Shay said that he was going to have a gathering here. That made me very happy. And it says, oh good, we can go to the ancient homeland of where our Sasivas medicine is from. And my grandmother used to say, if you're listening, you can say email it. That means we are listening in Sandwich. She used to say, when you dance your medicine dance here, you can receive a lot of blessings from the ancestors here. And even if you just walk on the land and pray, and you drink water, you don't eat no food, you just drink water, and then after you drink water, you pour some water on the land there where you're walking, and give a drink, and you say, I give you, dear ones, a drink. I would like you to drink the water with me, that we are living today. Thank you for letting us live today and encouraging us. And that's something that you can do. It's a very simple ceremony, just with water, or with your bottled water or whatever, and walk there and pray. Just go there and pray, pour water. That's something that you can do. And my grandmother used to say that that people used to get a lot of blessing when they come to this part of the island. Many of, even during the time the drumming and singing was outlawed, the people still practiced in secret, and they would come and take visits here, or if they were fishing, they'd always stop and camp here on this island. And my grandmother always remembered camping here. And this land, Grandpa Barney and Grandma Ivy told me stories of when they would travel. It was a treat to visit their relatives up here, and they would take them and camp here in different areas to dig clams or whatever. And then they would, the Samish people shared with the Snohomish people the fishing area here. So the Samish people were, and those were shared with all the different tribes. They were they weren't territorial back then. They shared. It wasn't until the government started limiting the people, and the people became sad. But My grandmother used to say, well, we have to practice our songs in secret, and do our dances in secret, speak our language in secret. I guess we have to eat our Indian food and gather our Indian food in secret too, and gather our fish. Everything's illegal, so we might as well keep on doing it. So they come and my grandmother and grandfather would teach us, just think we're poachers. We're poachers, we're poaching, we're illegal fishing. She says, well, we're practicing our culture illegally. So they used to joke around about that, laugh about it, and they thought that was so funny. And they knew that the Creator's love was much stronger than any law of any government. No, any government could never stop us. Something that's from the love of practicing, from the love in your heart, and customs and traditions that were given to us by our Mother Earth, this land here. And what the children could not give that up because they would die, truly die. Many Native people did really spiritually die because they did not practice the ancient ways. Just like the natural foods, that we would die if we didn't eat these natural foods or have water. Stay with. And the old people used to say, just always share the seafood and the native food freely, and because it's a medicine. And so my grandparents believed in that. They still continued, and all our other relatives that were from here. It must have been something for older people to grow up as children, seeing the ceremonies and thousands of people, and the communities were so huge here, and then to see them be diminished to just a few people. And it must have been quite a sight. But then some of them got to live to see their young people practicing the ceremonies, the revival of our language, the culture, the canoeing, and all this. This is recently that's come back. So we have faith and hope. And the older Indian people, they believed that this tradition is for everybody to practice. Practiced by human beings. You're from the human being tribe. And just like our sister sitting here, we're not trying to be Indians or want to be. But when you practice these ceremonies, you're practicing human ways, ways of the earth. At one time, your ancestors, in the ancient times, practiced the same traditions. They lived off the land. They lived at natural food, and they weren't even vegetarians. But there was natural food, and all the medicines, the land, everything was from the earth. And so it is all the same. If we really look far enough back, my grandmother used to say when they go to different islands here, there's a Lopez Island or Shaw Island, or how the people would travel from island to island for the medicine dances. And sometimes one tribe in the island would invite another, and the people would look forward to go there for 10 days, 10-day ceremonies. They'd have singing and dancing for 10 days, sharing of stories, keeping the stories alive, the epic stories. And it was so wonderful how the people, in each community learned parts of the stories. And everyone knew different parts of the story. And when they'd all come together, they'd have the full story of the history, maybe the history of this island. And all the islands here, all the storytellers would come here, and they'd all tell the stories and sing the songs. And then in turn, all the people here in Orcas Island would go to Lopez Island and then share the parts of the stories that they knew. So everyone knew parts of the stories, and that's the older people had it that way, so people could come together. They had to depend on each other, and it still became that way, even with the people not practicing the culture anymore. The storytellers had to still go visit the relatives wherever they were moved to, whatever reservation they were moved to listen to the parts of the story so they could keep it alive. And parts of the songs that we sing. One community would know the history of the song. That one community might just know the song. Another community might know the genealogy of all the people who sang those songs. And so it was quite amazing how they kept that alive. And it was all through the love in their heart. They enjoyed coming together. The older people always had food in their ceremonies. That's why they enjoyed the gatherings. There was so much wonderful food. And older people would say that people don't just come there just to visit. They want to see if there's good food there. And it's truly wonderful blessing we still carry on today. This way we always try to have nice food for the people. And keep coming together and learn singing the songs together. You'll make the land happy. So I encourage you to, even if it's just once a month or whatever time you can get together, if you can sing the songs, or if maybe you're not going to join the circle or anything, but maybe there's a song that you liked, that you heard in the circle that you might like to learn. And you could sing that song to the land. The land would be very, very happy here. That's what made me very happy. The land was so happy, and when we woke up early this morning, it was just the life force of the ancestors so strong here. They're happy that the living people are gathering today, that the spirituality of the island is not dead. It is very much alive. It is showing its life by being here today. When I was a little boy, I traveled with my grandparents, and my grandparents would be traveling from our community, going to a gathering. And I remember the first time I traveled to the Musqueam territory near Vancouver area in British Columbia. And we sat there at the Musqueam. And at that time, I had my grandparents from Canada brought me to stay with Grandma Ivy. They said, and Barney, they said, well, you need to learn from your fathers, because that's my father's people. And so I stayed with them, and they had trapped. It was funny because I had just left here in Canada, in British Columbia. And when I arrived in Tulalip, Grandma Ivy, her father was alive, and his name was Albert Charles. And he says, we've been called to go to Musqueam. And I just arrived at the house, and I said, I just came from Canada, and I'm going back again. So we got in the car, and we drove to Musqueam there, and to the Longhouse. I had never been to Musqueam before. And there, they sat us at the table. And the customs is different in every tribe you go to. And we sat there, and then they put a bowl there of food. And we looked at other people, and people were eating out of one bowl, the food that they had. And I looked at Grandma Ivan, and she looked at me, and we were kind of making faces, and she said, oh my God, we've got to eat out of the same bowl. Here we were eating, and she says, oh my God, I'll be glad when this is over with. She didn't like eating out of the bowl. They had the fish and the grease and stuff like that. And so that was one of the experience I remembered with Grandma. And Grandpa Barney, he sat up in the car. He says, I know that they eat like that, so I pretended I was tired. I went out in the car and slept. After we got done eating around the car, and Grandma Ivy said, oh, you crazy thing. And Grandpa Barney was reading the newspaper. He got caught. He said, I don't want to eat like those wild Indians. He had a bologna and cheese sandwich in the car. He gave us a bologna and cheese sandwich. Here's some civilized food you can eat now. But it is funny experiences like that. And we were there through the night and then journeyed back to Tulalip. And the older people used to just tell us, never say no when they offer you food, just try it, or because that makes people happy. And you know, you go to different houses, one house to the next, they always feed you. And because they don't say hello, they say sit down and eat. And just by the end of the day, you know, going to all these houses, you're just full. And you just really feel like you're going to blow up or something. And then as I learned, watching the older people, they just would eat a little bit, you know, little pieces. Because they knew they'd have to eat again at another house. So I would start imitating them. One time we went to a gathering. And this was a gathering up in Nooksack tribe. There we had gathered there. We didn't know that they were going to have the growling society there. And I had never ever seen the growling society. The growlers, they call it the growler society. And there they closed the doors, they locked the doors. Nobody could go out of this was a hall. And there, my grandmother, she said, oh God, we're stuck in here. There's the Growler Society, and it was the Wolf Society. And there they were saying and danced. This was at 10 o'clock at night they started. And we were just ready to leave, you know. We weren't going to, you know. And we had everything packed up. We were going towards the door, they locked it. And I looked at Grandma Ivy and I said, oh my God, we're stuck here. Here we were stuck there all night. They didn't get done singing until about 4 in the morning. Oh, as soon as they opened the door, Grandma Ivy just screaming, let's go, get out of here before they lock us up. We never went back to Nooksack for a long time. And they used to do that. No, they don't do that anymore now. But they used to lock the doors. Nobody could go in or out. If they were outside, they got locked out outside. And once the dancers were out dancing. And just little things like that that I see in my lifetime that have disappeared. Ceremonies like that are no longer done anymore. But a lot of other ceremonies have been revived. My grandmother told me, some ceremonies are just going to sleep. It's not that they're not practiced no more, they're just going to sleep. Yeah. And so I always thought maybe that's the reason for that. And I know different people come to our ceremonies, and I'm very thankful for each and every one that join in singing. Because when you try to sing, you will be blessed. The Spirit will bless you. You will receive a wonderful blessing. And you might not sing the right tune or anything, but you're trying. And you don't have to worry about that because the Spirit will help you. My grandmother was quite a person in teaching people how to sing. She'd tell people, well, you don't learn how to sing from by the Spirit, I will make you learn. And she was like that, my grandma Mary Moses. She someone that would have a hard time learning how to sing, she'd teach them how to sing. And I helped them out and give them helpful hints. And then someone who was just tonal deaf or really had a bad voice, he would just tell them, just open your mouth and pretend to sing. And open your mouth at the same time everybody's singing. And as soon as they close their mouth, you close your mouth. Does he tell people that? But I wanted to thank everyone. And when I sing my song, when we sing our songs, it's a song is to pray for the people and to pray for ourselves. And it's a song to help people. If you know that someone is suffering or having trouble, you can just think of them while you're joining in the song. Or if you're just listening to the song, you could think of them, and the song will help them. It will travel to that person and help them. That's the belief of our old people, these songs, this type of songs we're singing. Because, you know, I've been to some communities where they've lost the spirit dance songs, where that used to, that is not practiced no more. It is really, really different to go to those communities where the songs have disappeared. It's very sad. And people are caught up in this fast-paced society. It was prophesied that things would get faster and faster and faster, and that's how people would destroy themselves. Our old Indian people say, you can go at your own pace. You don't have to go the same pace of society. Just go at your own pace. Go at the way the Spirit moves you, so that you will not destroy yourself. And you can practice that. Save your family, your friends, save yourself. And that's what I was thinking about when I went to some of these communities that had lost the spirit dance songs, and even just the communal singing songs, potlatch songs. And they were so sad. And some of those people that their families were really having a hard time, that had lost And some of those communities, the Shaker religion came to them, so some of them practiced that, they had that. But still, it was so sad that they had lost the ancient songs. But then I thought again, well, maybe those songs are just sleeping. Maybe be the next generation that the songs will come, or maybe it'll come in several generations, we never know. But I thank each and every one of you for singing with us, that you helped to revive the songs here in the ceremonies that were practiced here today. They were practiced in this land here. And I told my son I might have to rush out of here, so you just have to sing another way again. When I sing the song that, the first part of my song, my grandmother, when I was dying, suffering in my body, she gave me that song to live. And that's how I survived from cancer. And she says, do you sing that song to bring your life back? And then the second part of the song, when I'm singing, when it changes, that's my own song. So the first part of my song, it belonged to my great-great-grandmother. It was her spirit song, spirit policy. But they told me to sing that to help me when I was dying. I thought I was going to die. And so I've been singing that song since I was 12 years old. That first part of the song. And sometimes I'll just, when I'm traveling, and other songs will come. And that will happen for you too. Songs will come to you. You'll start humming. You'll know where the song will come from. The Spirit will want you to. Sometimes you'll sing a song and then you won't remember it anymore. You'll just sing it that one time. So I just wanted to encourage you not to be discouraged in learning the songs. I thank each and every one of you. I'm just going to and then to get ready to go. Hajka siya mo stimo. Hajka means thank you, and siya is honorable people. Siya mo stimo. Thank each and every one of you for your prayers. Oh. Yeah.
Would you be willing to bring out again the name of the village that was here?
Whis-tem-men-knee. Whis-tem-men-knee.
Whis-tem-men-knee.
Yeah.
I was going to sing a quick song. This is a song that came to me as a medicine. It's really wanting to come out for someone here. So I'm just going to sing it. Yeah.